What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your review for Making the Cut, season 1, episode 9. And so, this is the episode, again, if you watch Project Runway, it's that before the finale, everybody gets to go home and, build their collection and get ready for the finale. And so, this is very similar. The only twist is, so the designers get to go home for a month, but the big twist is that when they come back, they're going to be doing a pop-up shop. And with the pop-up shop, they have to come up with their gimmick. They have to come up with a business plan. They are designing the whole pop-up shop. People will actually be able to buy looks at the pop-up shop, and your sales will be factored into the judge's final decision because, of course, they're creating a global brand. They're creating a brand that people want to buy. Like, it's all great and well that people like what they see on the runway, but are people going to actually go? Is that going to translate into sales? Like, let's look at, all of our former Project Runway winners. That doesn't mean that all of them that translated into global brands. We do have the Christian Sirianos of the world, but, that ain't everybody. And so let's see how this translates. And so, oh Lord, where'd I put it? Oh, okay. And so now I didn't, and I know y'all are gonna tell me in the comments, I didn't catch the look part, but I know that Johnny said he was doing 20 looks. 14 looks. Somebody else was like 20 looks. So I'm not sure how many looks they all are doing, but obviously enough to fill up a shop where people could come in and buy different items or whatever. So Johnny goes home to LA, and he's at home less than 24 hours. He immediately goes to Bali. And Bali, he said that's where he works with people. He's, has established relationships with people in Bali, and that's where he travels to make a lot of his clothes and things like that. So he goes to Bali. We see him, doing his thing in Bali and talking to the different tailors and things like that he works with. Esther is back in Berlin. Now, of course, the total opposite of Esther being black, is that her whole apartment is white. And she calls it her white palace, where she can go and think. She says she needs the light. Like, she needs that light to build off of. And she's grappling with that idea of more commercial, more color. Do I add color? Do I stay true to my brand? And what it looks like Esther ended up doing was she ended up incorporating the gold. So it's probably about 98% black and a little bit of gold splashed in there. But there still isn't a lot of color. But what I do like about what Esther's brand was is that you can see where a lot of her outfits, they can add color and make it more commercial with that. You know what I'm saying? She had this whole theme of food for, hold on, I wrote it down, child. Hungry for life. But I thought that was interesting because I didn't get the whole hungry for life. I know hungry for life. But she also had something that said black is colorful. Now, I personally thought that should have been her catchphrase because your whole line is black. So I feel like that should have been her catchphrase more than the hungry for life part of it, because I just think it should have been. But I just didn't get the whole hungry for life thing. I didn't get she had like the whole forks and spoons and stuff. I didn't get it. I didn't get where that came from, but okay. Sander, Sander Boss, or Miss Boss was his line, and it was very Sander. We saw him go home to Belgium and with his mom, and we saw where he had gone to school, and his sister actually helped him do a lot of his collection. And he said his mother drove him around because he don't know how to drive. I'm like, Sander, if you don't, child. Anyway, so we got a chance to see them go home, and you know how they do. You meet the family. The only thing was nobody went and visited them while they were home. We just kind of saw them do their own thing. They all come back to New York, and the workroom I thought was very interesting because each of them had their own sort of workroom area, and it was all designed like based on their aesthetic. But I feel like Esther's was the only one that stood out. Everybody else's, like Johnny's and Sanders, to me looked like it was the same space. But Esther's was very black and gold. Everything was black and gold. It was very hard. So I thought that was very interesting. But anyway, little foreshadowing maybe? I don't know. I don't know. Now, what we do find out though with this episode is that at the end of the pop-up shop, there will be an elimination. So there will not be a top three, there will be a top two. So this pop-up shop is really make or break. Even though everybody bought their full collection, you may or may not be showing your whole collection. And of course, they had a couple of days to get there because they designed their whole pop-up shop, like everything. And so you saw Esther and Johnny and Sandra meeting with the set designers and the people who were going to be designing it. I mean, everything from what light went where and what mannequin went where, and if they were very much a part of it. Now, what was interesting was that Johnny and Esther's pop-up shop was very similar. They both had that hard concrete look to it. Now, Esther had these ropes hanging. Johnny had like gold. Greenery coming out of his theme was metamorphosis. So he had like the greenery, like coming out of the cracks of the concrete, vines, and he had butterflies for the whole metamorphosis piece of it, and he had Vogue dancers that were modeling his clothes, and they were voguing. I thought that was interesting. Tim did his walkthrough. Tim's concern with Esther's shop was that it was too much and that it wasn't going to be easy to walk around with the ropes hanging, and it was just very, very busy. And he said, you want people to shop, you want people to feel comfortable, so he just did not know if that would be too busy. And in true Esther fashion, honey, she ain't changed nothing. Johnny, his concern with Johnny was that, yes, it was too cluttered, so to speak. Like, it was too much going on. And so Johnny took Tim's advice, and he sort of spread stuff out. He didn't get rid of anything, but he did spread things out a little bit more traditional, with the mannequins being a more traditional space rather than being in the middle of the store and stuff like that. His concern with Sandra, I think, was that it wasn't a lot there. Like, for example, Johnny and Esther both understand a brand, a global brand. Johnny had purses, Johnny had jewelry, Johnny had accessories. He even made candles, honey. Johnny made candles, honey. Esther had jewelry. She had the accessories to go with all of her different outfits. And so Sandra just had clothes. So I don't think Sandra fully understands what it means to be a global brand. You think of Michael Kors. You can buy everything from Michael Kors. They might even sell underwear at this point, but I know you can buy everything at Michael Kors, from shoes to sandals to jewelry to watches, purses, coats, jackets, shirts, jeans. Like, you can buy everything when you think about a global brand. Even Coach at this point, which started off as just a purse company, now has shoes and clothes and watches and coats. They got stuff at Coach that has nothing to do, that ain't not near a piece of leather on it. And Coach is a leather brand. You know what I mean? So I think that's where Sandra fell short. If Sandra doesn't get the nod, I'm really gonna feel like that's kind of where his weakest spot was, and it's almost like last week what they said Megan missed when she didn't, the week before, when she didn't do well on the outlay, like the magazine, being a creative director, that she missed the mark with that, and that was the whole purpose of the challenge. I feel like Sandra sort of missed the mark with that part of, like, he was supposed to, like, what was your business plan? What was your gimmick? So anyway, the judges came through. They had regular customers, and they could buy the stuff on the spot through their phone. They could go to the kiosk and they could scan it, and it would just automatically, the sales, boom, 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 boom. And you saw regular customers coming through, and you also saw the judges come through. And what I loved was that Naomi Campbell and Heidi, they went to each person's shop, and they shopped, and they bought clothes, and they were probably the most critical eye, because of course they wear clothes for a living. They love clothes. They love all kinds of clothes. And so they each found something to buy at every store. And of course the editing is going to make it look very fair that they were all excited at every store they went to. I think that out of all three designers, I think the most accessible, I feel like ready to wear accessible designer was probably Johnny. Johnny had some stuff there that I was like, oh, I would love, oh, I would wear that. Oh, that's great. He had this black and, no, that was Esther with the black and white coat. Esther had this black and white coat, honey, that I was like, yes. Now, Esther's items, they liked Esther's items. However, what the problem that the judges were having with Esther's items was exactly what they had been criticizing Esther for all season was, will this translate on paper? You have a black and white brand, and when we're up close on it, it looks beautiful, and we can see all of the detailing, and it makes sense. But hanging up on the hanger, it doesn't translate. On a piece of paper, when somebody's flipping through a magazine, is this going to translate? When they were trying on the clothes, there was certain Naomi said a lot of her pieces looked very complicated until you tried them on yourself and you realize, oh, wait a minute. Okay, this is how you do this and this and that. And it didn't look as complicated in real time. And so again, y'all know with the editing, they made it very fair. Nicole Richie was back. But because the episode, they didn't tell you the winner. The winner is, the person who's eliminated goes into episode 10. So I don't know who was eliminated because I don't watch them both at the same time because I want to watch, give you a review, then watch. So I cut it off. So I don't know who got eliminated or whether they did an elimination or whatever. But if it were me, if I had to guess, the person that I feel missed the mark the most, I feel is Sander. But he is young. He doesn't have as much experience. And like I said, I don't think he understood what they meant by a global brand. When the judges came into his store, they did ask about that. They said, well, so do you have any accessories? And he said, well, I was really just focused on the clothes. I feel like, we can always make a purse later. So it was almost like it would be an afterthought, not something that you will put a lot of effort into. So you don't care that that's an important part of a global brand. You don't care that that's what people, that you might be able to live off of purse sales and never sell a couture gown. I'm not saying that that's what you want, but understanding that. I didn't really get a nod as far as sales were concerned, other than the fact that Johnny made a comment about his kiosk being backed up because he was selling so many items. Now, Esther had a little gimmick that she actually served black ice cream on a black ice cream cone. Now, I feel like she only did that with the judges. I don't feel like that was something she was just handing out all willy-nilly. Sander did have a great gimmick where he was tailoring people's clothing as they were, like, if you bought a particular outfit, he had a tailor there that was actually tailoring it to you, and then they would take, I guess, those measurements or adjustments. I'm only assuming, and that's when you ordered it, it would be included in your order. Because other than that, what's the purpose of tailoring it? I don't know if that's what they really did, but I know they had somebody there really tailoring the clothes. However, I heard Miss Naomi Campbell say, well, yeah, you needed it. Because the skirt that I tried on, I would have needed it to be tailored to me. So I was like, oh, that's not a compliment. You know what I mean? So personally, I thought it was great. Out of the three, probably my favorite probably was Johnny's. If I had the money and I was shopping, I probably would have bought more products from Johnny. Because I definitely would have bought a candle. I mean, that's not a big deal, but I love candles. I did like a couple, like I said, I did like a couple of Esther's looks. That coat, like I said, that black and white coat, I loved, honey. Now, I feel like Johnny and Esther are worried because they are so similar that they don't feel like the judges will let both of them go forward. But I do think they have a very similar aesthetic. But, I mean, it is what it is. Like, I don't think the judges would not let them move forward just based on that at this point. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't think Sandra did enough to be in the finale. That's my opinion. But hell, y'all know they surprise us all the time, child. So anyway, that was Making the Cut season 1 episode 9. I want to make sure I said everything that I wrote in my the winning look. Oh, and there is going to be a winning look, and so the winning look will be immediately available for purchase. That's why I don't like that they cut it off. Like, I really wish they had told us who was being eliminated, just like they've been doing with all the other episodes, so then that episode 10 could just be focusing on the finale. But whatever, I just didn't want to start blending episodes. So y'all gonna find out when I find out. Anyway, let me know what you think. Drop it in those comments. Peace.